Thank you, Matt. Well, yesterday, Lakeside Steel announced it is laying off a quarter of its salaried staff in a bid to lower costs and remain competitive. Particularly bad news considering U.S. Steel just shut down its last operating blast furnace in Hamilton. So, are the glory days of Steeltown long over? Joining us to make sense of it now is Nick Bontis, an award-winning professor from the DeGroote School of Business. Nice to have you with us.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you as well.
Not too happy, though.
Yeah, no
jobs.
kidding. So, is Hamilton no longer a major player in the world of steel? Have things changed? Things
have changed. We're migrating away from our steel roots, and we have to move forward into the knowledge era. This is unfortunate news. It is always sad when we lose jobs in this community. And 19 jobs at the 25% layoffs at Lakeside. That's a significant amount. I mean, think of an organization as an organism. You're slicing 25% of the organism out. It's going to be very, very difficult for that organization to survive. And part of the problem has been our strong Canadian dollar. So we live by the sword, we die by the sword. Strong Canadian dollar, yeah, you can go to Buffalo and do some good shopping, but strong Canadian dollar also means that our domestic industrial organizations have a very difficult time competing with their American counterparts.
Nick, last week you talked about how high taxes and red tape was hurting the Canadian economy. Let's talk about protectionism this week. Maybe you could start with a brief definition of what that is for all of us who aren't business experts, and how that is hurting the Canadian economy as well.
Well, a perfect example is the Lakeside deal. What's happening right now is they're basically taking part of that organization and they're bringing it back into Alabama. Now, why is that significant? Because the Alabama government is offering financial incentives to help that organization out. So in a sense, they are protecting their American interests. What we've got to do in turn is appreciate that Hamilton, Ontario, and Ottawa, for that matter, have to also fight really hard to keep those incentives in place, the low tax, the reduction of the red tape, and the reduction of the bureaucracy, to keep those organizations here. Last week we heard about Smuckers. We got to do a better job here. But you know what? I'm actually looking forward to this change because I think it's time for Hamilton to make a move. And you know, there's other cities that have gone through this transition as well. Think of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh used to be the Hamilton of America. It used to be the central steel place of America. And now Pittsburgh is known for its medicine, high tech, and education. It's ranked the top 10 cleanest city in America. So you know what? Medicine, high tech, and education, Taz, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? I think Hamilton's got those things too.
So we need to reinvent ourselves instead of just sort of flogging a dead horse.
That's right.
You mentioned two important points. Last week you were talking about high taxes. One thing we didn't talk about was the Alabama plant that you were talking about that Lakeside is moving to. Lakeside made that announcement in July. Coincidentally, the HSD kicked in July 1st. So I think there's the proof in the pudding right there. Getting back to protectionism, though, isn't that against free trade?
Technically, it's not against free trade. What the real problem is that as Canadians, we're just too polite. We don't fight as hard as the Americans. So there's many more examples of Americans bringing back their operations to America as opposed to Canadians bringing their operations from the U.S. back to Canada using the same sort of tactics. I don't know. Are we too polite, Taz? I don't know. We got to learn to fight fire with fire, and I think that's what the politicians need to learn to do. And you know what's happening in the next couple of weeks, right?
What's that?
Elections, Taz.
Of course.
You got to get out there and vote for the individual that's going to protect the jobs in this community who's willing to fight the fight.
I think this quotation makes a very good light of your point. This is what Finance Minister Dwight Duncan had to say, his reaction to the blast furnace shutdown in Hamilton. We will work with the federal government on the situation to help protect the interests of the community and the workers there. What does that sound like? I mean, that's weak at best. That's not going to scare me to change.
You know what it is, Taz? It's words on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And, you know, politicians are famous for that. That's why they're on the campaign trail for the next couple of weeks. At the end of the day, it boils down to who's actually going to do what they say. And
so your vote really, really does matter. Let's talk about another issue that has a lot of people very upset, and that is the high price of gas. The average price of gas in the area, 106.9 cents in the Hamilton area. That is a lot higher than any of us want to see. 12 cents higher than it was last time at this year. So what's the reason for this spike? Because we really did see it start to jump about midweek.
The real reason, of course, is the root supply of gasoline, which is crude oil prices. So crude oil prices, of course, are skyrocketing now. They're upwards of about $83 a barrel, and that's what the oil companies need to refine the crude oil to make it into gasoline. So what we're hoping for is that is going to be it in terms of the rising of prices. I expect that that is going to be the case. We're going to also see probably a dip in the crude oil prices. It's going to range over the next year, I believe, between $70 and $85, which means in the short term, let's say between now and Christmas, our gas prices are going to be probably between about $1 and $1.10. One of the main reasons for that is that supply now is slowly shrinking, and that's because the Americans are being very, very tight with the offshore drilling, and because there's not a lot of supply out there, demand is still the same. The prices are going to stay steady.
Didn't we just hear Iraq say they have 25% more oil than they had predicted before?
That's right.
Isn't that more supply?
It does, but unfortunately, in the American marketplace and in the Canadian marketplace, that supply level is still very straight.
Okay. Still with gas, a lot of people have this theory that gas prices go up before a long weekend. Is there any truth to that?
You know what? I've been hearing that rumor too, you know, because it's nice weather, maybe you're going to take a drive up to the cottage. I think that is absolutely false. If that was true and all the oil companies got together, oh my God, we would have a real big issue with collusion, first of all, and frankly, Taz, that's illegal. You
know what? Here are the numbers. Crude lost $1.56. This was yesterday, and it closed at $81.67 a barrel. Okay? Today, the price of regular up by 6 cents. How do you explain that? That quick, instant price
And you know why?
Adjustment.
That's why so many people actually lay the claim that the oil companies are colluding with each other to raise prices.
No collusion.
Yeah. Well, it's not allowed. It's illegal. But there's, you know,
lots of things are illegal.
Lots of illegal.
That's
right. That's right, Taz.
Okay. Another big story today in the business world has been Toyota. They're back in the spotlight after a string of recalls, of course. They have announced that they're offering Americans who buy Toyota and Scion brand vehicles free regular maintenance and 24-hour roadside assistance for 2 years. That's a great package. Is this going to be enough to restore consumer confidence in the Toyota brand?
This is a great move for Toyota. You know, they could have actually made the cars cheaper. That's one option they could have taken. But when you make cars cheaper to attract more customers, it actually belittles your brand. Toyota's got a fantastic brand, so what does Toyota do instead? They actually build their brand and take it into the luxury car level. Luxury brands like BMW, Cadillac, and Jaguar, those are the brands that offer free maintenance and free roadside assistance, and that's what Toyota has done. In a sense, they've actually created this wonderful tactic to lure in customers as well as increase that luxuriness of their brand. So I think it's a good move for Toyota, Taz.
Are we in the middle of a buyer's market? Because there seems to be all kinds of incentives, low interest rates. We're talking about this incentive program. Is this the time to go out and get a car if you're looking?
If it's not the time to go out and get one, it's definitely the time to go out and start searching for one, start looking around. Other manufacturers, I think, will follow suit. Honda will probably follow Toyota's move as well. And the cool thing from the car company's perspective about offering maintenance is that, guess what? You got to go into the dealership every 2-3 months for that oil change. And you know, Taz, you walk into the dealership every 2-3 months, you're establishing a relationship with that car salesman, which means, you know, next time I might even go get another Toyota because now I'm good friends with Mr. Dealer.
Interesting. Okay, well, an amazing thing is coming out. Google doing something that tech companies have been trying to do for the last decade, and that is blend the television and the web experience. And they've introduced something called Google TV. We've got some video of what it can actually do. It's being marketed as an adventure where TV meets web, apps, search, and the world's creativity. So what is all the hype about? Because I'm not getting it. I look at it and think, I can already do this if I wanted to attach my PC to my computer.
You're right, Chaz, you're right. There's nothing new here. All that's new here is that Logitech, which is what Google's using to actually sell the box, is coming up with a new appliance, and it costs $290, and frankly, I think that's way too much money. And you know what? I don't know about everybody else, but at my house, what we fight for at my house, me and my kids, is the remote, a nice little small unit. Now, what you're expecting us to do is actually fight for a keyboard in front of the television? I don't know if that's going to fly, Taz, to be completely honest.
To be very fair, though, it is a lot easier to navigate your way around it than it would be if you did connect your PC to your TV. Is it worth the money to pay for that?
I don't think it's worth the money to pay $299 to actually surf the web. That's what the computer is for. That's what the laptop is for. Frankly, for me, when I'm sitting in front of the TV, it's a big screen and I'm on a couch and I'm sitting back to relax. That's what it's for.
I'm kind of surprised
I don't want to be sitting there typing.
I really thought you'd be one of the first people in line for this.
You got to compartmentalize, Taz. There's relaxation time and there's computer time.
Fantastic. Okay, well, is it going to change the way that TV stations like CH operate? Because you've probably noticed on our screen, we've got the market numbers, we've got the sports scores, your headlines, your temperatures. That's our way of giving you everything in one sort of complete box. If the web is trying to do this, or Google TV is trying to do this, is it not going to hurt TV stations like us?
No. You're
No?
safe, Taz. You know why?
Good to
Because
know.
people like to see your face, Taz. So CHCH is safe. And the reason for that is because not only does CHCH offer familiarity and relationships with people, but it offers the news immediately. You get the stock tipper right now, the weather, all the 3 sunshines that you're looking at right now, that's going to be for this wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. We have experience here at CHCH that Google does not have. And they got many, many years that they're going to have to fight to catch up.
Google TV does have that option where you can do the picture-in-picture, so you could be watching CH and then surfing the web. So we'll have to see what it's all boils down to.
They do, but you know
demand.
what? They don't have any people behind it. It's that human contact. It's me looking at your smile right now. That's what people want, Taz.
Okay. All right. Well, that is Bontis on Business for this weekend. If you want to see this guy's mug, be sure to check out his website and tune in next weekend for more Bontis on Business. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thanks, Taz. Happy Thanksgiving.
NickBontis.com is your website. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.